Welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by Hy-Vee, both in Osage Beach and Jefferson City. And the topic today, local history, with our good buddy, local historian Bill Moulder, who stops on by. Best looking guy in the whole building here, by golly. So do you wear like this all the time?
Pretty much.
Wow, this is just you.
This is just me. My wife will tell me, you've got a problem with history. And I started, and I've always kind of dressed Western because, you know, Stetson hat and boots, how can you go wrong?
Right, yeah.
And as I've started researching history, started finding out more about the clothing. Like the shirt I'm wearing is cut the old pattern, 1880s.
Really?
And I found one, put it on, said, wow, it's more roomy in the shoulders and it feels good. I'm going to go this route.
So you live it.
I live it.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And just a little background on you. You've been a deputy sheriff.
Correct.
In Boone and Camden counties, a wildland firefighter.
Yes,
So
sir.
you've been out there in all of this. You've been there.
I've been around the horn, as they say.
As they like to say, absolutely. Okay, so we do multiple shows with you. We have different themes for different shows. We've talked about the lake area before the lake when Indians were here and all that stuff. There are so many myths about the lake after the lake came into being, right? So I'm fairly new to the lake, but I hear this myth about there's a ghost town under the water in Lynn Creek, and there's some church steeple or something like that. What's going on with these myths?
Well, I don't know how they get started. You know, it's like any myth. Where did it come from?
Yeah.
I guess we could look at Lynn Creek. We'll start with that one. Is Lynn Creek still under the water? Yeah, it's still there, but it's just rock foundations.
Really?
And it's back before Truman Dam was built, in that impoundment, sometimes the lake would go down very, very low to prepare for the spring floods. Then you could actually see, in Lynn Creek Hollow Cove, you could actually see some of the old rock foundations. We're talking a concrete foundation with, or maybe a couple of stacked rocks. That was what you would see.
Right.
I don't know that it would be visible anymore because the amount of siltation up in that hollow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or like maybe a rock chimney or something like that.
It all had to come down.
Wow, they tore that all down.
That was all, anything that was a man-made structure had to be leveled to the ground. Now the trees, there is a myth about the standing forest in the lake. There's a bit of truth to that. Because you get closer to the dam, if the tree was under so many feet tall, they didn't have to take it down. They left them standing.
Right. They had to be kind of topped off at, was it 6:30 or 6:35?
Yeah, and I don't recall. It sounds pretty much in the ballpark. So there is some stuff down there. The church steeple, I have no idea where that one comes from. I think it may be a photograph from the dam to construction days. There was a church steeple that they took a picture of in Lynn Creek being pulled over.
Okay.
It was during the destruction.
Yeah.
And if you look at the picture, I mean, it's standing there. There's a shot of it still standing. Then when they've got the cable through it to pull over with the bulldozer, then there's another picture that shows it laying in a big pile. So I kind of speculate that's maybe where that came from.
Yeah.
The other myth is all the cemeteries under the water.
Right.
So the known cemeteries, the major cemeteries, were dug up and moved to higher ground. Now, were there small private cemeteries around homes? Because people did used to bury their dead near their homes sometimes.
yeah.
A little family plot. Were all those picked up? Probably not.
Probably a few of those left.
Yeah, and it may be one or two graves.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like big cemeteries. In the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, you recall, there was some issues and they showed some stuff. And after that, I started seeing a resurgence of people talking to cemeteries under the water.
Yeah. Because, I mean, this dam wasn't the first and only dam in the United States. I mean, they had to do this in a lot of places. And the Tennessee Valley Authority was the ones that did that in Tennessee, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's happened before. Yeah. But I think when I was at Wilmore Lodge, and it might be true, might not be true, that they did a study on, before they built the dam here, and it's such a unique valley system here in the Ozarks. There's nothing like it really in the world, the way this dammed up to be a lake.
We are sitting at the junction of the Ozark Plateau and the prairie. If you go on up into Morgan County, and you'll notice a change, especially around the Versailles area.
Yeah.
Then you're moving out onto the prairie. This is part of the Ozarks Plateau down here, so we're truly the Ozarks. And, I don't want to offend my friends that live in northern Morgan County. They're not in the Ozarks.
Right. It's a whole different topography there.
Jeff City's not in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of different rock structure here, and there were some challenges for the engineer. The dam is actually, they cut into the bedrock under the valley down there, and that dam has a chunk of concrete, if you want to call it a key, that sits down into that bedrock.
Yeah.
So it's a very solid structure. A lot of dams they were building in those days were the earthen dams. Maybe have a little concrete over to one side for a powerhouse or a spillway. This thing is concrete from side to side, and it's anchored into the bluff and anchored into that bedrock. It's a very stable structure.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that.
I'm sure the folks downstream toward Tuscumbia are really grateful for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the big difference was this area still was not very well developed. It was very much an agrarian area. Was there some tourism here prior? Yes. But that was people coming down. They may rent out a night in a guy's barn to go fishing.
Right.
And the farmer that had the barn there, yeah, you can sleep in my barn. I'll rent you a boat. Have at it. So there was a little stuff going on. The big tourist draw we had was Hahatonka.
Interesting. Okay, hold that thought.
Okay.
So Hahatonka, it was there before the lake.
It was before the lake.
We're going to talk about that with historian Bill Moulder when we come back on the Spotlight Show. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center is growing in our community with a new dental location to serve you in Eldon and a new location in Loring. COMC also makes your children a priority with a mobile dental unit serving schools in rural areas where access can be a challenge. COMC also offers OBGYN, sports medicine, pediatric, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. If you love the lake, you gotta love Lake TV. Welcome back to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show. We're talking lake history, local historian Bill Moulder. And so the dam comes in, they build this dam, and it changed everything.
It changed, it was a paradigm shift for this area.
I mean, like a 180, complete change.
Quickly, within just a couple of years.
Wow. So that had to be hard for the local people to get used to. I mean, I guess some people maybe saw it come and planned for it, kept their land above where where the lake would be, so
Yes.
it would become very valuable land.
Very valuable.
Other people had no idea what was coming.
And in some cases, UE would say, we don't want any more of that. You keep that hillside.
Yeah.
And you especially down low here, you see some of the bluffs down on the lower end of the lake where some of these beautiful $1 million homes are sold.
Yeah.
UE said, yeah, there's no need for that. We don't want it.
Huh.
There's nothing there for us. We only want up to the 660 mark. And now you got houses sitting on these bluffs, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So not even they saw what was coming.
Didn't have a clue.
Wow. They were just interested in the electricity.
Yes,
but
sir.
actually that's worked out for everybody.
It has worked out well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So the dam comes into being in the early 30s. It filled up in 31, I think.
31, it was pretty much a lake at that point.
So what did people do in the 30s after the dam? Was it did they figure it out pretty quickly, or did it take a while?
Yeah, there was still a lot of shock there.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, even in the 30s, we did not have a road system here to speak of.
Oh, yeah.
We had gravel roads. It would take you a couple of days to get from St. Louis or Kansas City here.
Yeah.
And they were still depending on some rail service into Stoutland or Jeff City to get here. And there's another little interesting trivia side note here. People have heard, or may remember the movie or the TV show, not Green Acres,
Petticoat Junction.
Petticoat Junction.
Yeah.
That was anchored right here.
In Eldon, right?
In Eldon.
Yeah. Who knew? Some hotel up there.
A hotel that was owned by the parents of the lady whose husband wrote Petticoat Junction.
Right.
And of course he did Beverly Hillbillies and Green Acres.
Man, he was a smart dude, man.
He was smart, and Green Acres was somewhat anchored around some of his family that lived down in the Tuscumbia area.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of a joke. He was poking fun at him a little bit.
Yeah.
But
if anybody's seen Green Acres,
yeah,
right, it's great. Man.
If you haven't, you need to.
You got to. Same thing with Petticoat Junction.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. And Beverly Hillbillies.
And Beverly
for that
Hillbillies.
matter. Absolutely. Okay. So 30s. It took them a while to figure it out. I'm guessing. I mean, we know the lake area now is a big resort, play
Correct.
area. Did it turn into that right away, or did it take a while?
It took a little while. And you'll see some of the pictures of Casino Pier.
Yeah.
You're going to see that. And that's picture you're looking at. That's the original Casino Pier building. That was built about the time they were building the dam.
Okay.
And it was a casino.
Wow.
And then you see the picture there of the two boats together behind Casino Pier. That was kind of the start. You didn't come down here with your own boat. You come down and took a ride.
Ah.
And they made a buck or two there.
Well, that's a good start, right?
That's a great start. And then it started taking off. Fishing was the biggest thing off initially.
Right, okay.
Because people could come down here, rent a fishing boat, and I would laughingly tell people that when I talk about this, you didn't bring a fishing boat with you. Fishing boats were wooden.
Right.
By the time you hooked that thing behind your Model A or Model T and drove down these roads, you had kindling by the time you got here.
Yeah, so when you got here, you rented a boat, or,
Yes, sir.
I mean, that was part of the industry, and that helped it get started. And then I hear stories of the Don, or,
The Larry Don.
The Larry
and
Don.
Tom Sawyer. I mean, there was all kinds of things. The Commander. And that's some of the pictures that you're looking at on screen right now.
Yeah.
Is exactly those boats. And they were the staple of the boating industry.
Huh.
And then as time went along, resorts started growing. People said, well, boats are different. And they started buying the wooden boats. And there's still some good examples of wooden boats you might see out here on the lake.
Yeah.
I'm jealous, but I don't have the energy to do the upkeep on one of those things. Some of those Chris Craft boats are gorgeous.
Yeah.
But man, you're talking a lot of energy to keep those things. They take a lot of energy to maintain.
Yeah.
And things that just went along. And today, we're talking boats with 4 big outboards that may be 200 to 300 horsepower on the back of each engine.
Yeah.
So we've had that big shift.
Yeah.
The other thing that come along after this was the fact that people started building resorts.
Yeah.
Mom and pop resorts. And they were the staple. They were the bread and butter. They're still here.
Yeah.
That sometimes we forget that they're out there, but that's the bread and butter. Then we moved into the condos, so it's just been a shift after a shift after a shift.
Yeah. Kind of like as society has evolved and grown,
Yes.
we've seen that in the different phases here, from the mom and pop resorts, which, like you said, are still around. A lot of houses have been built out of those cabins.
They have, yes.
And things like that, and then into the condos, and now we're kind of making a transition. There's the old condos that you walk down the hallway and you go, man, this was built in the 60s or 70s, and the new ones that look, all the shiny, tingly stuff. So it's been an amazing growth.
Well, and probably we could give credit to the Snyder family who had Hawatonka built.
Hawatonka, okay. See, we're running out of time, so we're gonna have to save that
All right.
for another show. By golly, it's always so fun to talk to you. Bill Moulder, if people want to get more information on you, where do they find it?
Bill_Moulder at iCloud.com.
Okay, there you go. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. We do multiple shows with Bill because there's so much local history to talk about. Thank you so much for joining us for this Community Spotlight Show on Lake TV.